The Senate recently, during the review of the Electoral Act, dismissed claims that real-time transmission of election results equals electronic voting, emphasizing that Nigeria has not adopted an e-voting system. The distinction has done little to settle the broader argument. Critics say that while market women process mobile payments and farmers check prices on basic phones, votes can still be manipulated at collation centers. The Electoral Bill 2026 provides legal backing for the electronic transmission of results to the IREF portal, running alongside manual collation. It also introduces a digitally generated voter card with a QR code. But analysts warn that the resistance to mandatory e-transmission is not primarily technical. Manual collation allows discretion. Discretion allows negotiation. Technology narrows that space. Nearly 3/4 of Nigerians support elections as the best way to choose leaders. But more than 3/4 have little or no trust in INEC. Experts say a combination of precisely what makes the e-voting debate so consequential. Now for an expert analysis of the possibility of digitizing voting in Nigeria, tech innovator and founder of iVoteAfrica, A.K. Peter, joins us now on Newsday. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Now let's look at this debate that has been going on for quite a while now. The Senate has clarified that real-time transmission of results is not the same as electronic voting. Now, from a technical standpoint, how valid is that distinction? And do you think it clarifies, public understanding of these issues? Does it risk further confusing voters about what technology is actually being used during elections?
Okay, thank you for that. Electronic transmission of results does not equal electronic voting. Electronic voting essentially will mean capturing these votes electronically, digitally, okay, right? But what we have currently is a system that runs concurrently with a manual system. So you have partly digital system like the beavers, accrediting voters to vote. But then the process itself remains largely manual. The thumb printing, the counting, the collation, all of that paperwork remains largely manual, and then by the end of the day, it's transmitted to IREF portal for people to view. So the distinction is very clear. When we have a manual process and then we try to digitize that manual process, it is not equal to electronic voting. If voting must be electronic, then people should be able to cast their ballots digitally.
Even at home?
Well, even at home, even from designated polling units, it's all about what is permissible by law. So for us in tech, we can design whatever we allow permits by the law. So if Nigeria says it is okay for Nigerians to vote from home, fine, we'll fire down. If they say it must be limited to polling units, still digitally, fine, we configure that to happen.
All right, if we were to go full digital now, will it improve election credibility, you think?
Absolutely. Digital voting eliminates a lot of things. Part of the most critical issues that we have in our electoral process is trust. The people don't trust the system. The people don't trust the outcome. And for very good reason. When you look at result sheets, when you look at the outcome of the results, you will see mutilations. I don't want to say they were done to rig elections, but if I am a teacher and the student submits a document with mutilations, it begins to raise questions, right? But if we have fully digital electoral process where we trust the system that produces that, then it begins to build confidence of the people. Trust returns to the system, and then everybody, generally accepts the outcome of the results.
But we live in an era of misinformation and threats about hackings and stuff like that. There still poses some kind of risk. You may deploy the best computer-generated security technology, or what you may call it, but at the end of the day, if countries like the advanced countries are even having doubts about their own election outcomes, even if it has been proven over time that it's to a large extent a bit fail-proof. So in our own society, as it were, can we actually say it's fail-proof when we have all the shortcomings at the background?
Okay, first of all, let me make this distinction.
All right.
Technology is not location sensitive. So if you deploy good technology in Nigeria, it is good technology.
Okay.
If you have good technology in advanced country, it is good technology. Now, systems are prone to attacks. People would want to test the system.
Yeah.
People would want to manipulate the system. But then, like you said, there is a level of trust that you have when you know that you have a robust system in place. A typical example, we know that systems can be hacked, but we are all confident here with our monies in the banks. And banks run on electronic systems.
True.
The reason we are confident is that we trust that the system has a way of preventing these attacks. And then that even when they occur, there are fail points where we can go back and retrieve information. And then it also provides auditability, accountability. Yeah. So if there's an attack, we can say it's at this point that somebody has tried to breach the system. So we can halt the system at that point. So yes, there are attacks, but good systems are designed to counter those kind of attacks.
Let's talk about your platform, iVote. I know you have a pilot version for the virtual electoral system. Paint a picture for us of how that looks like, especially for a country with multi-party system like Nigeria.
Okay, iVoteAfrica is a digital virtual voting platform. We started working on that about 3 years ago. And it was actually born from these challenges that we're talking about today. So it's a fully digital system that allows for accountability, that allows for auditability, that allows individuals to be able to verify outcomes on their own. So the system that we've tried to put in place using iVoteAfrica was actually a problem to solution concept. So what I mean by problem to solution concept is that we identified current issues, outright rigging, violence, costs, logistics. These are real issues facing our electoral system. So we pick each of these issues and try to address them. So for cost, for instance, if we have full digital systems, first of all, we'll get rid of paper. That costs a lot of money. When we print this paper, we print so much for everybody that is eligible to vote, and then maybe just a fraction votes. The rest of the paper goes to waste, right? When we talk of violence, people perpetuate violence because elections are localized. So we know between 10 a.m. and whenever the election ends, people must gather here. So we can go there and disrupt elections. We can actually carry the ballot box. And that ends the election. So we picked that up and said, with electronic voting, even when there is violence, there will be no incentive for violence, because the worst you can do is to cut away with the system. But then votes that have been captured up to that point are already securely saved in the server. So all we need to do is to replace the system, right? Then in terms of accountability and auditability, all of that is built into, transparency is at the heart of iVoteAfrica. So results are captured with unique identifiers, the time of the vote, the polling unit where it comes from, and all of those digital signatures. So when people want to contest the outcome, there is somewhere to fall back on and say, we can see that this happened at this point and this happened. So these issues that, becloud our current process are what we isolated and, streamlined all of them into iVoteAfrica as a solution. So that's basically what we've done with the platform.
All right, our current system, is it necessarily a bad thing to have manual version? plus some elements of digital version running side by side, in terms of for the elections. And the issue of not having enough of this in terms of going full digital, and that's usually the issues, transparency, trust, and of course accountability. So is it okay to run what we have at the moment? Is it still to a large extent we can get the desired result, or there's still elements of doubt? And also I would like your thoughts about this e-registration going on. Can you also use that as a form of scrutiny when it comes to the number of voters, regarding the numbers we actually have in the systems as well?
Okay, so starting from the first question, it's not a question of is it good or bad, right? Well, I would always like to put things in context.
Yeah.
If you're faced with a fully digital system and a system that runs concurrently with manual and digital, you will agree with me readily that the full digital system will be easier to understand, easier to trust, right? What we currently have is a situation where we digitally accredit people, and then when it comes to the point of voting, they do it manually. Now, we all have seen videos, reports, that when we finish that point of accreditation, a lot of things begin to happen. We've seen videos of booklets, and it's just one person doing that, right? So when you finish all of that, it makes a mess of what you've done digitally, and then now you go digital again to upload the result, and what you're uploading is that thing that's man
more like taking one step forward and 10 steps backward.
You understand? So it's
cumbersome to say.
Why I said context is, if we can be honest to the system, to the process, and make sure that only those accredited are those that vote, and there wouldn't be a problem. But the reason we are talking about this is because we're not true to the system. We have failed the system. And then you said something.
The registration scenario,
okay, if it could
political, yes, to a large extent, you can use it to scrutinize the results, especially the outcomes, as it were.
Yes, e-registration, it would be a good point to start from, in the sense that it provides a background where you can go to check. So if we have 10,000 people that have registered electronically, no matter what you do, you shouldn't have more than 10,000 votes, right? Assuming all the votes are valid. So it's a good point to start, but it doesn't just end with that, because we've seen also situations where we have 50 accredited voters and 300 votes from the same polling unit, and it flies somehow.
I know there's so much benefits to technology, but I think the main issue is that lack of trust in the electoral body, and that is one issue we have to deal with. But we must appreciate you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Ike Peter, tech innovator and founder of iVoteAfrica. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.